Hello, my friends. We are live again. I'm Christine Bell. I'm a customer strategist, but we're not going to be talking about that. But do reach out if you want to find out more. I'm back with my Snappy Chat. This is all about learning and growing together in business because guess what? It gets lonely in business sometimes, especially when we're building. And also, we go through many of the same challenges all the time. So this is what we're going to be talking about today, the challenges that we go through as small business owners. And we're going to get a perspective from my wonderful guest, Chi. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Cheech, yes, thank you.
Cheech. Cheech. Sorry, yes. Me and my names. Pardon me and my Danish accent. Chiefs. So we're going to meet Cheech, who is a fantastic business owner. You've been in business for a long time. You do everything that comes to marketing and execution, etc. So we'll talk much more about that. In fact, I'm going to get you to introduce yourself now, and we can find out more before we get into a fantastic conversation about what we can learn and grow. And I can't wait for your challenges that you're going to share with us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so thanks for having me on, Christine. So my name is Cheech, like Cheech and Chong, but Chong is not here again today. Everyone keeps asking about him, right? One day he will show up, Christine. I tell you, one day it will be spectacular. I'm very fortunate to run an amazing team at Ignite Search, and we are a award-winning full-service digital marketing agency helping clients transform visions into results. Yes. We work across. Go ahead. Yeah. So
I was going to say, I love that. I just want to say hello to some of our listeners in. We got Royce here. Thank you so much. Royce is amazing. He's a fantastic marketeer and copywriter as well in America. And he used to be a radio host. So if you want to find out about how to actually do interviews, I can learn from him as well. We reach out to Royce. And we've got Leanne as well, who I don't know, but thank you so much for being here, Leanna. I really appreciate it. So yes, I just wanted to intervene and say hello to people, so we know they're here. We got Yolanda as well. So Cheech.
yes.
I don't know if I'm saying it correctly still. I can practice that for a long time. I'm so sorry.
Good.
Tell me a little more about, so you've been running your company for like 7-8 years now or more?
Last year was 10 years, actually.
Ooh, time flies, hey, when you're having fun.
Yes, it does. It's really good.
And if you had to just very briefly sum up your journey, what is it? Is it a journey of up, or is it going up and down? How's it going?
Oh, roller coaster. Like I tell my team and everyone that it's like being in Disneyland every day, except the rides are not always a happy experience, Christine. So if I go back to my background, I started off in 2014, right? I've been working as a marketer for several years before that, both across Perth and also in Sydney as well. And then I spotted a bit of a market opportunity. So I started Ignite Search in 2014 in Perth. And just by myself with one laptop in my mom's family bedroom, right? Oh, my mom was so worried for the first 12 months. She was like, "Hey, Cheech, are you okay? Like, you seem to be just on that laptop all day. Like, you're not going to work anymore." I'm like, "Don't worry, Mom. I got this. It might not seem like much now, but it will become something." And fortunately, it did become something. So.
Oh, I love that story because, we look at all the people who've made it and are successful, and I include you in that, by the way, when I look at your company and how far you are. And I'm like, wow. And we think, oh, how do we get there? And we think, oh, so they just had it made like this. But no, you had the perseverance and you trusted and went against probably many people's advice about keep working, keep making money, and just said, no, I'm going to do this. And I love that because that requires a certain soul, I think, to do that. And certain type of mindset. We got Shafiq as well. He's calling in from London. We appreciate you staying up and watching. We really appreciate you. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to spotting that opportunity, I've found a lot of small business owners and founders even haven't always completely done the research when it comes to spotting that market opportunity. How did you spot it?
So I think there was a couple of ingredients that contributed to my success in the early days. So first of all, I had strong competency. So when I left to start my company in Perth, I had some really strong years in Sydney working for established marketing agencies, blue chip clients. So a lot of the knowledge and experience I had in Perth actually was not available at all. So I knew that intimately. Yeah. So typically speaking, like, Sydney, I do believe is still the heart of marketing in Australia. Melbourne being close second. But yeah, Perth would be typically about 2-3 years behind in terms of the many industry knowledge. Now it's a little bit better. So I had competency coming in. By then, I was actually working for a local agency for a couple of years already. So I also built up the second part, which is the connections and the networks. Now, for me, I try to always think more strategically. And I thought to myself, before I went to work in Perth, I left Sydney for Perth, right? I could have actually started my company then, right? But then I realized all my networks were in Sydney and I didn't have any connections in Perth. If I did it then, right, it would not be the same. Okay. Now, did I think it was the right decision? I did not know, but I had that gut feeling that that was the right thing to do. So I actually ended up joining a local agency, building a network, right? And it turned out to work really well in my favor. So that's the second part as well. And then the third part really is, understanding the true value of your offering, your product and service, right? And I knew for a fact that what I did impacted businesses on a fundamental level, financial level, and that's really what it is. Like, marketing is an investment. No matter how you cut it, that's what people are looking for. Yep. Yeah.
And absolutely, marketing is about making money for our clients, and it's about, you have to invest in it. And of course, depending on our wallet, we may not be able to invest a lot, in which case we have to work out how to do it ourselves and do it well. Which is not that easy. Or if we have money, it is worth investing in. Yeah, I mean, I also say mindset is important to invest in as well in business, but that's another conversation. Because you need to have that perseverance and that belief. But what I love around what you're saying is you actually go, well, actually I have the experience. You knew you had solid experience, so you could trust yourself. You knew you had something to offer, the value you could offer, and you also built the network. You actually took time out to work in Perth to get the network going, so you had some understanding, and then you had a gut feeling. And how often do we listen to our gut feeling versus ignore it? I just want to say we've got April here. Thank you so much for being here. We've got Mike Ashenbrowner from the Hounds of Business Community. If you don't know them in America, you got to check them out. Royce love it, and he says we've got to get me into Cheese and Chung because I don't know them. That's a whole nother conversation for another time. But what I love this conversation already. So you obviously had all those ingredients which got you started, but it's still a journey, isn't it? It's still, like you said, a roller coaster at the beginning, ups and downs, which is why it's always exciting to talk to business owners and founders and entrepreneurs, because there's a spirit that comes with, I'm going to get on the roller coaster no matter what. Yeah. And there's going to be some some falls where we feel, oh my God, I'm flying free falling. Yeah. So tell me about some of the challenges you had. What do you think is the key challenge you had that really has helped you establish yourself in the last 10 years that took you to the next level?
Yeah. So I would say there was many different key milestones, but the one I felt has really put us in a really good stead right now in 2025 is when we actually went through a significant brand repositioning in 2021. So just after COVID, right? So to give a bit of context, when I started out Ignite Search in 2014, it was a single channel service provider. Now, what that means was that my background was in search engine optimization, in organic search. So I was doing that for many years before I started Ignite. And naturally, I actually offered that service initially in the beginning, right? So that probably happened for the first 3 to 4 years. It's all I did. I didn't do anything else. Didn't even know social, didn't even know branding, didn't even know Google Ads, nothing at all. Then what happened was that, and I think this is something that a lot of people can relate to. When you do a really good job for someone in one particular field, particularly when it's in marketing, right? They tend to also ask you about other aspects of marketing. Yeah. So we have these conversations. We'll be like, oh, Cheech, like you're doing really well for us in the SEO space. Do you build websites? Right. To which my
And you're
answer
like,
as an entrepreneur will be like, oh, let me think about that. Absolutely, yes, we definitely do. Right. So you see what I
and
mean? So
that
now you
takes
see,
that, yeah, and that takes guts, right? To go,
yes,
oh, I don't do this, but I do. Yes, I can do it.
correct. Build the plane as it's falling, right? As they say. So I would say that part is also a challenge in itself to be able to build the resources, the operations to be able to service those solutions. And if someone asked me, was it all perfect sailing in those early days when we were offering such services? I mean, the answer is, of course, is no. Right? Like, there will be sometimes, like there were some times whereby, like, we would not be able to deliver the services that I thought I expected of ourselves, right? And it is the truth and something that we have to always be transparent with the clients about. And I think that's the most important thing, is to be transparent with them, right? On what you're offering. So touch wood, right? That started to build up momentum. So it started to build up our second service pillar, which is web design and development. Okay. So correct. Expanding, and then clients, a lot of them love that one-stop shop, right? Where you can actually look for many different services within the one team instead of dealing with 2-3 groups of companies, right? Once you have the trust, that's what they're looking for.
That's so interesting, because I think that there's it makes it easier for them if we already like someone and work with them, and we're like, well, they're in a similar areas. I'd rather just stay with them because I like them and I trust them, yeah, rather than having
Correct.
to actually go elsewhere, because at least I can have an open conversation.
Correct. That's actually right, especially in the small to medium sector, which is what we were targeting back then, right? In those days. So fast forward, right, to 2021, and then we kind of reached a point whereby it wasn't just SEO, it wasn't just websites, it was also social media, and then it was also digital advertising like Google Ads and Meta Ads, and then the final piece of the puzzle was branding, right? So branding came around that time for us. So we were only just starting to do a lot of branding projects, which, by the way, I'm a huge fan of branding. I can talk about branding all day, all night. So if anyone wants to,
well, you're talking to the converter. I'm all about customer-centric
yes, I
branding.
know.
Yeah.
So at that time, right, I actually didn't really change my identity much, my brand identity much, from conception, right, from 2014 to 2021. Every time I go out, I felt as if there was something really holding us back, right? Every time I try to have conversations about other services other than SEO and maybe a little bit of website, right? Especially to new prospects that have never met us before, but know of us, right? And I started to get a lot of, how do you say, maybe a bit of pushback, a bit of barrier, right? When I start to talk about strategic conversations. And then I realized that in the market, we were known for SEO and we were known for websites, but we weren't really known for anything else. No one really saw us, right, as that full service strategic partner that I had visions for us to be.
So they saw your execution. You did great execution, but they didn't assume that you could also do great strategy, which is so important, because the two go together. Yeah, strategy and execution are part of the same parcel. They go together.
Exactly. And in my mind, right, because we were able to offer that multi-channel, multidisciplinary, it made sense to move into that strategic area. Like if I wasn't in that multi-channel, I was just doing SEO still, and that was my bread and butter, right? Maybe the strategic area would just lie within SEO, if that makes sense. So we chose a path. I chose the path, right, that I saw that was going to be, prosperous for us in the future. So that was a challenge. That was an issue, right? That we had to solve, that I wanted to solve, because not only were the clients, not clear and confused, even the team was not clear and confused. They didn't even know, because like team members join at different parts of the business life, right? Some were there for like 3-4 years, some just joined a year ago. And if you were to look at our presence back then, it was just like, it was so messy. The messaging on the website was just talking on our SEO and digital marketing, didn't mention much about social media and branding. There was no mention about strategic conversations. You look at all the visual aspects of our brand, it was just everywhere, Christine. Like, dog's breakfast.
I wish I had met you in 21. I would have helped you straight away, because this is exactly the market opportunity I spotted. I see a lot of smaller businesses, even medium-sized businesses, and they are so, I think, possibly by not knowing, or just like, I just got to get out there kind of mindset, is that they're so executionally focused. And I get it, because it's something that's very tangible. And I can see I need a website. It's easy. I need some SEO. I need some social media. It's tangible. It's like what I need to get started. But if there's nothing strategically that holds it all together, then it's a mishmash for most of them. And then how are you going to have impact if you're saying something over here, something over there, something else over there? And it's like, and that's exactly what I spotted doing lots of interviews with small business owners in the last 7 years, or founders.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. And, sometimes like, we would go into conversations and, the client will be approaching us for service A, but ended up, actually engaging us with service B or service C, because we saw like, what the situation really was, gave them our recommendation on it. And they were like, yeah, actually, you're right. Like, we really shouldn't really start with that service at all. We should really, start with, Google Ads, right? Because you want lead acquisition, right? Not brand building. So
now you're becoming a lot more valuable, because now you're actually going and saying, yeah, that's great what you want to do, but let's do this. It's going to have more impact. It's going to have more results, which suddenly puts you at another level strategically in terms of becoming a strategic business partner.
Correct. Yeah, that's right. So I knew we had to change, and I also came to a realization, and I would say we could have done this maybe a year ago before that, right? Like if all things like were to be reconsidered. But I came to the realization that as much as I know about my business, right, at that time, I didn't have the foresight, the brand knowledge to take us to where we were. That's number one, to be very self-aware about your strengths. And then number two is I actually now believe that, for someone to truly help you, right, you might need to find someone that's external, that someone that is non-romantic, that is dispassionate, completely objective to your business. That was the one thing that I did not actually possess, because I was just so tied to the business. I cared so much about it, right? It's like your baby, right? And the thing is, can't see forest from the trees, right? Tunnel vision, all that. It was true. I think I could not have done the repositioning if I did not bring in a brand specialist, because I just could not get there. That's the ultimate truth.
Yeah, wonderful. I totally hear you and totally agree with all your observations and how important it is to start co-creating with others as well. It's not that they were doing it all for you. I'm sure you were very much part of it. It's just you need a different perspective. And strategy is better done together than separately on your own. It's very hard to sit and do your own strategy, even for me. And it's something that when you get other people's perspective and ideas and thoughts and get a chance to have a conversation, a lot more will come out and you get deeper into what's really important in your brand. Before we talk more, I just want to point out Mike Actionbrand in the US. He thinks you're very sharp and super likable, so he's going to start stealing my guest. So you might expect an invitation there. April thinks you look so young, but lots of wisdom. And they're scared of the crazy wildlife down there. We're not even going to get into Perth beaches, because that's a whole nother ball game when it comes to what's going on with sharks and whatever. So with that in mind, so tell me around your brand. How did it help you? So you ended up recreating your brand or repositioning yourself, really building a strong brand foundation. How's that helped you, do you reckon? If at all?
Yeah, so ever since that point in time, right, there was a few different steps that we took. So the Ignite Search brand, we decided to maintain that word mark, which is Ignite Search, but we definitely gave it a bit of a facelift. So before, right, it was getting a little bit tired. It was becoming a little bit misaligned, because the way that it was designed was that it was really heavy on the serifs. It created too much weight right? It does not allow us to be nimble and agile, which is one of the key values that I really wanted for the agency going forward, because I saw that one had to be very quick on its feet, to be adaptable, to be responsive. So we did a bit of a facelift with the brand itself. Secondly, and this is really important, is that we established our brand trinity, right? The brand trinity meaning we established our vision and our mission and our values. Huge. That was really, really key. Took a while, right? I must say, a lot of back and forth, right? A lot of just justifying whether or not that's the right path forward, the right word, the right nuance. And people say, oh, but Cheech, why does it matter? Why does words matter? Well, the thing is, words really matter because you talk to yourself internally every day. Words manifest into actions, manifest into destiny, right? So words do matter. Yeah, a lot.
And just words on a page on a website about values means nothing. And unfortunately, a lot of the corporates are a little bit guilty of this in terms of having these beautiful values. If you look on their, on their website or wherever they're promoting themselves, and then you deal with them through their product or service or their customer experience, and you're like, well, or even if you look internally and you're like, because it also matters internally. You don't just live your brand values externally; you have to live them internally as well as a team. And suddenly you go, well, you're not actually living them, so they mean nothing unless you actually live them and take action from your values, your vision, your mission, etc. It doesn't mean much. Yeah, it's just words. I just want to say, Royce Blake, I love him. He's always amazing. Always better to be a partner versus a vendor. Sorry, I'm just interrupting with that. Yes. And Mike says, stack them straight. He's straight from Kentucky, so that's his American there. Absolutely. So with this in mind, how has it changed in terms of now that you go? I remember you said earlier when you go and you were doing some sales pitching or whatever, you didn't always feel necessarily that strong in some areas. Now, how do you feel when you go out and talk about what you do?
Much more easier, Christine. I find that conversations are never the first touch point when prospects are speaking to you. Quite often than not, they've already seen everything that you have to offer online. Yeah. So they've already been to your website. They've already been to your LinkedIn, right? They've already had a look at your social media, and those start to already form opinions, right? For them about who you are as a business. So when we now start to use the brand language that we've developed, right? Words that I've maybe spoken earlier in this conversation, like transforming visions to results, right? That's our vision, actually. So using words like that, right, really starts to resonate with them, and there's definitely less friction when it comes to, because they understand who we are, what we do, and what we are capable of. It is much more streamlined now.
Yeah, and I love that. And you touched on something just beforehand, which is this: people are looking at your website, your online, etc. And it's around connecting with you. They already established some level of connection if they reach out directly to you. So for me, and I don't know what your thoughts on this is, connection is actually an emotional game. If you truly want people to remember you, you got to strike a chord with them emotionally, and that can look like different things to different people. But that for me is so important in terms of that, because by the time they actually have a conversation with you, they're already like you. There's always that little bit of they don't necessarily trust you just yet, but you've already built a bit of the know on the social media. You build a bit of the like if you have that some level of emotional connection with whatever you're saying, doing, or showing up. So like living your values actually is a way to emotionally connect with people, I believe. Because they go, okay, I get that, he stands for this XYZ, I buy into that too. And we go, oh, that's like me, and that's how we make shortcuts in decisions. I go, okay, we connect there. At least I think we do until we have a conversation.
Yeah,
and I think people forget about this, especially when you're on social media and you think like, I'm not getting any results. How many on here like, I'm not getting the results I think I should, but we don't always know. I had this conversation this morning in my own community. Sometimes around the seeds, we plant the seed, but that doesn't mean the seed is ready to flower just yet, And I think that's the same with social media. Often, obviously, you're an expert, but it takes time to build up that know and like over time consistently, because we look for consistency in terms of trusting someone. And that seed is going to take some time, and we don't know how long it's going to take for it to come out of that dirt, and turn into a beautiful flower, hopefully.
Yes. Many dates before the marriage, as they say.
Yes, it's not always great to go straight into a marriage. That's a whole nother conversation we just went on to here now. But I totally agree. You want to date beforehand. Actually, you want to go on some short dates before you even get on the long dates, yeah?
Correct.
And isn't that the truth that most people we get into business with, especially via service business?
Yes, absolutely.
All righty.
Absolutely.
So with that in mind, we have a few more minutes, and then I wanted you to wrap up in terms of making sure people can reach out to you. So Mike Asher Browner can get you on his show if he wants to, and you want to. But what is the one advice, if you had to give one advice today to anyone who's starting out or they're at the next level of growth? Because there is a point where we are small, and suddenly you're growing. Yeah, and that's a big transformation as well right there. What's your greatest advice to them? To is it to stay in the game or what? What would you say?
I would say, right, as long as you're meeting a need in the market, right, that is significant enough for that exchange of value, then I think you have some potential, right? I think it's all down to that particular kind of algorithm. No matter what you do, this is kind of applied to all businesses, whether or not it's new businesses like AI and AI related services, or businesses that have been around for a very long time, right? Like your accountants and your lawyers, right? Or like even like garbage collection services. I mean, some of them not sexy at all, but boy, do they make money.
There's a need. Yeah, I totally agree. There's a need, and often it's a need that is out there because people generally have a need. Sometimes some companies are better at creating needs, like pharmaceuticals, pretty good at creating their own needs for people.
Correct.
But let's not go there. But in terms of needs, absolutely right. But then of course there's competition potentially, and then there's another thing: are they willing to pay for that need?
Yeah, it's correct. It's quite funny that you mentioned about this. We actually have a company right now that's in a very new category. So when you go traveling, right, you used to be able to only travel with a physical SIM card. Yeah, that's the only way that you'll be able to do that. But now most people hopefully have started to understand the option of eSIMs, right, electronic SIM cards. And one of our company just started in June last year as an eSIM company. And like I told him already that this is a new category industry leader, right? If you do steps X, Y, Z, right, properly, then you'll be able to get to some level of success. And I'm actually really pleased to say that we've done pretty quite well for them. They were very, very happy, right? They they said, oh, Cheech, thank you so much. It really has started to change them. So absolutely, it's all situational. Yeah, just because someone said it was difficult, but you don't know what their situation is, right? What the context is.
And do your market research. I can't emphasize that enough. Just start talking to people, find out what they need and how they want that to be created, rather than trying to do it all on your own isolation. Yeah. So Mike just pointed out, I've got 2 minutes and it won't be snappy anymore. So we've got 1 minute now. So we're going to finish up. I could talk to you forever, by the way. So we're going to have to finish up now. So tell us, how can people reach out to you? Do you got anything you want to promote, etc.?
Yeah, no, awesome. So for our company, you can go to ignitesearch.com.au. We are Ignite Search on all our social media channels. Personally, I'm on LinkedIn and Instagram, so you can search for Cheech Foo, CHEECHFOO. And if you feel as if you can benefit from some strategic branding and marketing advice, right, please feel free to reach out. More than happy to have a chat, see how we can help. Thank you.
Love it. And we are just on time. We managed to still be snappy within half an hour. I had a conversation with Mike about if it goes over half an hour, it's really not snappy, is it? So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate having you here. Feel free to reach out. You got to get to know Cheese. Did I say it right? Cheese.
Yeah, good. Perfect.
We're going to get there one day. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you for everyone showing up. They're fantastic. Mike, by the way, says sharks. He forgot about there were a threat down there as well. He's too scared of the wildlife down here. He'll never come. Perth is
Thanks,
beautiful
Christine.
though. So thank you so
Thanks
much,
all.
everyone. I really